Hello and welcome to Chessington World of Adventures, where we've been invited today to come and try out their brand new experience for 2019. It is of course called Room On The Broom, A Magical Journey, and it's located just behind me in the former building that used to be home to Hocus Pocus Hall. Now Alex is here with me today,
Morning.
Who's joined me to come down here and experience it. Of course, a big thank you to the park firstly for inviting us down to come and see the attraction. They've put on the breakfast for us this morning, giving us some pin badges, and yeah, really kind of the park to of course invite us down to come and be one of the first people to see this new attraction. But Alex has got a bit of the history. I mean, you know what I'm like when it comes to like brands and all that sort of stuff. I'm not great, but Alex knows a bit more than me about it.
So if you're familiar with the story of the Gruffalo or Room on the Broom, this is easy to you. You don't need to know nothing.
There you go.
But Julia Donaldson and Axel Scheffler, and that's very good, I remember that.
He's good.
I'm getting my money's worth here today. Yeah, they are the author and illustrator of the story of Room on the Broom. It started as a book, became a TV movie, same for the Gruffalo, that's how they started, became a bit of a franchise, to be honest with you. Julia Donaldson's stories are really quite known worldwide, and then Axel has done the artwork and design for the characters that brought these illustrations to life. And also, fun little fact, it's narrated by Simon Pegg, I found out just a minute ago, who's quite a famous actor.
There you go. I don't know this sort of stuff, so...
No, but I thought that was pretty cool to mention. And it's basically like a world of witchcraft. It's a very family-friendly story, but it's really, really lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and of course this video is going to contain some spoilers, so if you do want to keep it as a surprise, I'd recommend not watching past this point. But yeah, in terms of, let's just go back to what Alex said just about the Gruffalo, of course. Like, that's a brilliant attraction, boat ride, they rethemed it from Bubbleworks. That was one of our favourites. In fact, we recorded a very funny video a couple of years ago, which was hilarious. So check it out from the last day of that. But yeah, we were sceptical with that, weren't we? And we went on it, and we were pleasantly surprised with what they've done to it. Of course, for me, Hocus Pocus Hall hadn't got the same sort of, I didn't love it as much as I did with Bubbleworks. So with this, it's not like you're playing with history for me. It's not like my nostalgia. So with this, I was kind of went in there, and I said to Alex in the car this morning, I don't think whatever they've done to it's going to be an improvement from what it was, and that's what I want to start off really. We'll sort of talk a bit about the attraction and what it's about, but yeah, I just want to go out there and say, it is an improvement definitely on what it was before Hocus Pocus Hall. Walk through attraction based on this little gremlin. Originally you wore 3D glasses, all UV paint on the walls, and a mirror maze like a labyrinth at the end. It's the same format in terms of a walk through attraction, however you don't have to wear any 3D goggles or anything now. So as I'm talking about it, as we're sort of describing it, we'll put some shots on the screen for you as well, so you can sort of see what we're speaking about. Yeah, we've been through twice. We were one of the first groups to go through, and then we've done it again as well. So we've been through a couple of times, been able to experience it, and I think we know, our verdict on it now after doing it twice.
I think the thing is, as Sean mentioned, it's really, really important that there was no nostalgia to Hocus Pocus Hall like there was to the Bubbleworks for us. So it's really, really hard to make that transition from still an older attraction, but nothing that meant as much to us like we did Bubbleworks to Gruffalo. We were actually pleasantly surprised. Gruffalo has a lot of 360 theme in set pieces and design, and actually we were really, really impressed. We thought there'd actually be a lot of vinyls and a lot of two-dimensional theme in there. So we were actually very, very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, in terms of the theming, like for me, like, let's talk about the different rooms. Of course, we start off with a giant book and some brilliant projection mapping. I'm like in the vlogs, when I see some projections, I get a bit excited.
All do,
I was really impressed with that. Door opens at the side, nice quality projections actually as well, really nicely detailed. First thing in that room, what I did notice though, is there was a few bits that just didn't seem to be finished off right. I'm not too sure if that's because this is a preview. I know it officially opens tomorrow, and maybe they might be letting people in later, I heard, just as well. But yeah, in terms of finishing touches, maybe there is some more bits to be done in there. A few bits of paintwork and stuff what need touching up. I noticed like some of the markings on the floor from Hocus Pocus were just all faded and left there. So hopefully there's some more finishing touches.
Replenishments, I think.
Yeah,
definitely.
But yeah, like the projections in there, very, very good. Telling you about the story. Obviously, I didn't really have a clue what it was about. So as soon as I'd been in that first room, I knew what to expect. And everybody could see stuff in there as well. Like they say, kids to the front. Obviously, we're reviewing this as adults. Like it's not target market.
We're not under 10 years old, so it's hard to imagine.
But unfortunately, we haven't got a kid at Theme Park Worldwide who can, when I've got a kid one day, I can bring him to these things, and there you go, you can hear it from them.
So we try and put our childhood head on sometimes.
We are big kids, though, aren't we?
We are. I think it's really important to remember as well. In that very, very first room, again, without giving too much away about the individual details. What I really like is it explains the story really, really simply. It explains it to an audience of a younger age. And actually sometimes for adults who don't know the story, who don't know Room on the Broom, who don't know Gruffalo, sometimes you just need a little bit of a premise before you can actually enjoy the attraction. And I think it was introduced to you in a really, really great way at the very
I do.
start.
I loved the beginning. We then went through the layout of the rooms has stayed very similar to what it was. Like, I don't think they've changed much structurally inside there. Obviously it's quite an old building, you know, so they'd struggle with that. You know, it's a walk-through attraction. There's not a ride system or anything in there. But yeah, anyway, you went through the trommel then. That was the point where I thought, oh, actually, there's a lot what still needs to be done in here. I mean, the trommel, I hope it's not finished. It's, as you can see from the footage now on your screen, it's white rollered walls, and you can actually see where the roller painted it. So
a little bit of blue. I think it needs maybe some characters or a bit of scenery adding to it just to finish it off a little bit.
I must say at this point, some lovely smells throughout the attraction. Beautiful. I first started to notice them there, and some beautiful smell pods. Merlin are getting really good with that in their attractions and putting smells in. The Gruffalo has got a lot.
Chessington's like smell pod central.
It is, and we love
great.
The smell pods at Theme Park Worldwide. Lots of on the walls, like Alex said, there's not really any vinyl at all in there. It's very good in terms of.
Even if it's painted set, it might be two-dimensional, but there's something there. It's not just something that's been printed out and left just to, you know, for the imagination, really.
One thing I really liked, on a lot of the walls, you've got like this magical like spell happening on the walls, and it's just like fibre optics in wood, but they didn't have to do that. That could have just been painted walls or just a plain wall, and they could have just put a light on and shined it on the wall. They've not. Like, they've actually got fibre optic style lights in the walls a lot of the way through, which is nice. That's kind of, it's good that they've done that, but there's still a lot of places there where I feel like you've got these really nice bits with projection mapping and fibre optics
as well.
And there's a few places where there's some blank space, and a few of the roofs and stuff are very noticeable. I felt like some of the lighting maybe wasn't positioned right. You know, it's too bright looking up. Like, it should be more focused around at some of the set pieces.
And I think sometimes the ground was quite dimly lit. I don't know whether that was intentional or not, but there were some really, really nice lighting effects in there that would have looked nicer again, just a little bit lower. I mean, because a lot of the set pieces in there and a lot of the theming that was intended for audiences to interact with are actually quite low to the ground, which I think is really, really good.
Yeah, they are. Anyway, you can see some more footage of the different scenes coming up on the screen. I can't remember too much the order of it, but we had a number of interactive scenes. I must say, with it being a children's attraction, something for all the family to enjoy, the fact they've made it interactive, like you've got like a scene now where you have to put your hand in like a hole to feel about for something. I don't think there was anything in there. There wasn't in mine.
No, there wasn't, no, but they wanted the kids to kind of engage and try and find something to move on and progress to the next part, you know, trying to finish the story. So it was really quite lovely.
That. I also liked another one where I had to like touch these bugs that lit up. That was nice. I like interactive stuff in this day and age. I think that's really good. In terms of them overall scenes, there were some really nice bits of scenery around, actually, I thought.
I agree.
And a couple of like smaller animatronics, like you had the frogs and stuff with the mouth opened, and nothing too in depth. But you know, it was nice, that was, from that point.
I think what's really important is the set pieces were really part of telling the story in there. And sometimes, you know, you do need a story spelling out to you, especially if it's something you don't know. And those set pieces made it really, really engaging and interacting. You knew what they wanted you to look at. And sometimes that's all you really need for an audience. And I feel like, you know, you can indulge quite nicely in there. Yes, there was, you know, as we mentioned, a few blank canvases, but actually, generally speaking, you knew where the centre of attention in that each scene needed to be.
Definitely so. Obviously, as it carried on through towards the end, we went through a few different scenes. You see a bit of footage of those who've just been talking. And then we made towards the end where, of course, you've got the mirror maze, which is still there, but then into another scene, which obviously used to come out of the mirror maze, and that was it in Hocus Pocus Hall. With this, there was a large scene at the end, probably the tallest scene as well, what they've done in there, and a lot to see. And you actually had like the witch like came out as on like a broom, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's like an advanced broom with seats. It's like the deluxe
I liked
version
that.
of the broom.
I wasn't expecting that.
It reminded me very much of, I mean, I never got to see it, but a little bit like Journey into Your Imagination's finale scene, you know, with the dream finder and everything. It was really, really quite classic. Nice. It was really quite charming, and the soundtrack really made it in there too, I think, throughout as well. You know, there was a lot of use of smoke machines and things. It was really quite... It was quite intense, like it was quite full on. There's a lot to take in, you know. And I think the only thing that I really struggled with in that, certainly that last part anyway, is stacking with the groups. It seemed like the group size were a little bit too big, but I guess that's something that can be fixed.
That's what I wanted to go on to now. I was kind of hoping with that some of the rooms, they tried to not make them bigger as such, but maybe take out some of the walls and things to make it open a bit more. Because if I had a kid with me there in that second run through, I would have, like, they would have struggled to see anything. It kind of felt like some of the scenes were done in corridors, and if you were at the back of the group, like, you wouldn't see anything.
I think your Sean's footage will show that quite clearly, that he's just been watching that. You know, sometimes you do end up, even you can start the group at the front, but by the end, when kids and families have gone to chase their kids back, actually you do end up just tucked into the corridor to the side, and you having to kind of peek around a corner to see what's happening in the scene.
You know, I understand the need the throughput of it, and it's got a big queue line. I mean, you know, you can see it all at the side there. It's a huge outdoor cattle pen queue line that it's got. But yeah, I just maybe felt like there was a few too many in the group. Maybe with it being a media day, of course, there's more people than they would normally be with cameras and things. It does stay on the sign that video isn't actually allowed, obviously after the press day. So it'd be interesting to see if that is the case. I know some attractions say that you can't, but they do allow it and stuff. But yeah, with that one, maybe when they don't allow that, I can actually see why they would not allow filming in that now.
It's quite restrictive. It's quite intrusive.
If someone is there holding the camera up, such as myself there, you know, is blocking the view for people behind. So obviously after the press day, I can understand if they don't allow filming. I'd probably say it's good that they don't, because you know, it can block the views. But as a bit of a summary then, of course, we could talk all day about attractions, like whether, you know, they're aimed at kids or our age. We could talk all day because, you know, me and Alex are very passionate about the themed industry. No matter what's done, whether it's a kids attraction or you know, a huge dark
we'll go in there
ride,
seeing it as what it is, and we've come out and actually I'm quite impressed by it. I think there's some really nice touches to it, definitely.
There's some bits that I like. I'd say out of 10, I'd give it a 7 out of 10 for me. Sean's food review, 7 out of 10. Yeah, 7 for me, mainly because I felt like, you know, it's an improvement on Hocus Pocus. Definitely. I didn't really have an emotional attachment to it. So that helps for me because I'm not comparing it to something else, you know, what it was. I like the projections. I like the fact there wasn't many vinyls. Love the smells. I felt like there could be some more music in some places. Something I already spoke about, the soundtrack. Some bits it was great, other bits it was blank. Like you come out of that first room, round to the trommel, there was no audio. So that's interesting. But again, it's something to be worked on. You know, like you come and do this in a few weeks and have a completely different run to what we've just had. You know, these things change over time, don't they?
It happens. I think one thing also to mention as well, how like video scenes interacted with set pieces and vice versa with the special effects, the cauldrons bubbling over and the smoke, really quite nice.
Lots of visual effects.
Lots of visual effects.
More movement than I was expecting in terms of like, I didn't think we were going to get some smaller animatronics and stuff.
I don't know whether it was just our run today or not, but we actually orchestrated our way through by a member of one of the rides team as well, and that was really quite useful, I think. Because
I hope that stayed.
Yeah, because actually, I think if the audience were just allowed into that attraction just to kind of look at the sets, they'd walk through and miss everything key. So it's kind of encouraging you to stop, take it in, move forwards. You know, I think that was really quite nice, actually.
But overall, good addition to Chessington. It's nice to see the gradually refurbishing older rides and attractions at the park, much like, of course, last year with Dragon Falls into Tiger Rock. You know, so again, very budget. And I'd say with this, it's been done on a low budget. You know, they've not spent millions and millions of pounds here, and it's clear that they haven't. You know, but it doesn't mean that it's a poor attraction. I certainly don't think it is.
I think the creativity's there, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And Andy Porto, who's very familiar in the attractions industry, has been a huge part of this as well, along with the other colleagues. So, you know, they've done a really good job of turning an old attraction and freshening it up a bit. But I'm hoping that there's some more fine-tuning, so to speak, some more tweaks that for me will probably push it from a 7 up to maybe an 8.5, you know, in there. It'll never be a 10 because of the building that it's in for me, and, you know, unless they've done a full strip down and rebuild of it inside.
For a rethemed attraction, very, very nice.
Very good. And the queue, literally, look at this now. I assume all these people are coming in. Obviously, that's the end of the media event. We thought there was going to be some sort of maybe a chat or something with the creatives and also the people behind the storybooks.
We're probably too busy chatting about it.
Yeah, you know, it doesn't seem that way. But of course, thank you very much to Chessington for having us down here. Really appreciate the invite to come and see it. I will be putting on, you've just seen some clips there whilst we've been talking about it. But I know sometimes you don't just want to hear what we think, you just want to watch it with the natural sounds without me like chopping bits of it and stuff. So there will be a full walkthrough that I've just filmed. on the channel, so make sure you check that out. And also we're filming a vlog today from the park. I don't think we're going to get on loads of rides. It seems very busy. It's actually the annual pass day today. It's not the main opening yet until tomorrow. But yeah, we're going to go around and see what changes there is in the park, and it's probably not going to be the longest of vlogs because of how busy it is.
80-minute queue for rattlesnakes.
Yeah, we'll have a walk round, see what there is, have a bit of footage, and go from there. But there you go. Thanks for joining us for our review of Room on the Broom, a magical journey, new for 2019 at Chessington World of Adventures. We'll see you in our other videos from the park. That means it's time to cue those credits. See you soon.